I still remember the taste of that stupid cereal I was eating the morning everything changed. Cinnamon squares, the off-brand kind. My foster mom used to say smell and taste are memory triggers. Well, she wasn't wrong. It was 12 years ago when my parents sat me down and basically told me I was a budget cut. I was 12, a kid, not perfect, I'm sure, but not bad either. I wasn't setting stuff on fire or failing school. I was just there. That's how they treated me. Like background noise. Meanwhile, my sister, Savannah God, she could burp the alphabet and get a standing ovation. My name's Miles Carter, and back then, I still believed families didn't leave you behind. Yeah, funny, right? We're going on a trip without you. It was a Saturday morning in Portland, and I was in my room, half playing with old action figures I hadn't quite outgrown. I remember Mom, sorry. Tracy calling me downstairs in that fake chirpy voice moms use when they know they're about to do something awful but want it to sound like a birthday surprise. I came down expecting to get grounded or maybe told off for forgetting to do the dishes again. But nope, they sat me down like I was in some HR termination meeting. Mitchell, my dad, was in his usual cargo shorts and that dumb travel hat he thought made him look adventurous. Tracy had her fake nurturing face on, the one that makes you feel like you're being adopted by a cult leader. Miles, Tracy started. This isn't easy for us. Mitchell jumped in. We've hit some hard times. Financially. I blinked. Okay. We've found a temporary solution, she said. And I swear I still hear that word like it's carved into my brain. You're going to stay with a foster family, just for a little while. WTF, I laughed. I actually laughed, thinking it was some weird messed up joke. But no, it was real. And when I asked why Savannah wasn't going, Mitchell shrugged like I'd asked him to explain quantum physics. She's got school. She needs the stability. Oh, so I didn't cool. The ride to nowhere. The next morning, they handed me a duffel bag, not even a proper suitcase. Just this beat-up army green bag with my name scrawled on duct tape. We didn't talk much in the car. I sat there trying not to cry, hoping one of them would turn around and say, "We changed our minds. You're coming home." They didn't. When we pulled up in front of the Miller's house, my foster family, they didn't even park. Mitchell literally said, "Let's get this over with." Like dropping your own kid off was the same as returning a library book. Tracy knelt down and tried to kiss my forehead. It felt like being tagged with a return to sender sticker. Mitchell shook my hand. A freaking handshake. I was 12, not his accountant. And then they left, drove off without looking back. That night, I lay in a strange bed, in a strange house, staring at the ceiling, repeating the same sentence in my head, "They'll come back." Spoiler, they didn't. The Millers were fine, but I was not, to be fair. The Millers were good people. Mr. Miller loved random trivia, and Mrs. Miller made pancakes like it was a competitive sport. They tried their best, but I was broken, angry, confused, and not ready to trust anyone. At school, I made up lies. My parents are traveling for work. It's temporary. I must have said temporary 1,000 times that first year. Funny how that word started to rot inside my mouth. People believed me because I smiled a lot, but inside I was wrecked. 3 years later, Instagram delivered the knockout. It was a Tuesday afternoon, sophomore year. I just failed a math quiz and was feeling like trash. So what did I do? The most self-destructive thing ever. I looked up my parents online. Their travel blog popped up first. Carter Unplugged, How We Let Go of Everything and Found Ourselves. Excuse me, photos, dozens of them, cocktails, waterfalls, luxury Airbnbs. And there she was, Savannah always front and center, like she was the CEO of their new life. There wasn't a single mention of me, not even a "we miss our son" post. It was like I never existed. The worst part, a blog entry titled "The Freedom of Letting Go." They wrote about releasing attachments and embracing minimalism. By attachments, they meant me. I wasn't a kid anymore. I was a deleted file. I didn't cry. I just stared at the screen, jaw locked, fists clenched, feeling something shift inside me, like a wire snapping, or the comment that lit the match. As I scrolled through their comments, full of praise from clueless strangers, I found one that hit different. Must be nice running away and leaving everything behind. Hope it doesn't catch up to you. No profile picture, just a gray circle. I read it again and again. Hope it doesn't catch up to you. I didn't know who wrote it, but I wanted to. That night, I sat on the porch outside the Millers' place, phone glowing in my hand, heart thudding. Something inside me whispered, they didn't just leave you, they erased you. And right then, I knew this wasn't going to be one of those stories where the hero forgives and moves on. No, this was going to be a slow burn. Last week, I found a letter. Not the kind you get in your mailbox with a Happy Holidays sticker and a guilt trip. This was buried under a pile of ads on the Miller's kitchen table, sloppy pile. Which was weird because Mrs. Miller was annoyingly organized. It had my name on it. The return address said it came from some random law office in Los Angeles. That alone made my stomach drop. I hadn't lived there in forever, but I knew who had. My so-called parents. I took it to my room, shut the door, and just stared at it for like 15 minutes. When I finally opened it, I got maybe 3 lines in before I had to sit down. Notice regarding outstanding financial liabilities associated with Tracy and Mitchell Carter. As the former legal guardians of Miles Carter, we are requesting verification of any dependency status and potential financial documentation during the years 2013, 2016. I blinked. What the actual hell? They were being investigated, or maybe sued, or both. And apparently, they thought I might be useful as some kind of alibi. I reread the letter, heart pounding. It was all legalese, but the message was clear. Your parents are in deep shit, and they want to drag you back into it. Nah, screw that. I shoved the letter under my mattress and didn't tell the Millers. Not yet. I needed to think, process, and maybe scream into a pillow. A few days later, I got a DM from Savannah. It popped up right after dinner like a ghost kicking in the door. Her username was some basic at Savvy Explores bullshit with a beach pic and filtered sunsets. Hey, Miles, I know it's been a while. Can we talk? I stared at the message, hands going cold. I hadn't heard from her since she watched our parents drop me off at the foster house and didn't say a damn thing. And now, we were just cool again. Nah. But I didn't delete it. Not right away. I let it sit. Watched it like it might explode if I touched it. Eventually, I replied. About what? She took a while. But her answer, I didn't know they'd cut you off forever. I thought you'd come back. They said it was just until things stabilized. I'm sorry, I really didn't know. I almost laughed. Didn't know, girl. You were in the damn car. You waved. You posted pictures of Bora Bora while I was eating cafeteria spaghetti in a group home. I wanted to unload, rip into her, but I didn't. Instead, I wrote, I hope your travel blog's doing well, and left it there. A year ago, things started changing for me. Like, really changing. Mr. Miller helped me get a job at a bookstore, and I started saving money for the first time. I got decent at budgeting, thanks to all those Sunday night money talks he insisted on, even when I rolled my eyes through every second. I joined the debate team at school and killed it. Turned out arguing was something I had a talent for. No surprise there when your parents gaslight you for 12 years. You learn how to clap back. Then, last spring, something happened that I hadn't dared to dream about. I got offered a full-ride scholarship to a university in D.C. Political science. My whole body shook when I read that email. Like someone had finally said, you get to matter now. The Millers cried. Literally cried. Mr. Miller high-fived me like 5 times in a row. And Mrs. Miller wrote me a note that said, you're the kind of son we always hoped for. And damn it, that made me cry too. That night, I posted the news online. Just a picture of the acceptance email with a caption like, hard work pays off. Onward. Simple, clean, felt good. Then I saw it. A comment from Tracy. So proud of you. Miles, let's reconnect sometime. No, absolutely not. I deleted the comment, blocked her, then blocked Mitchell, then double-checked every setting on every platform. Because here's the thing. You don't get to ghost me for 12 years and then pop back in like we're distant cousins at a wedding buffet. You don't get to say we're proud after erasing me from every photo, every post, every goddamn Christmas card. Fast forward to this morning, and everything came to a head. I'd been getting weird calls from random numbers all week. Some voicemails, too. But this one was from my boss at the bookstore. "Hey, Miles, weird thing. We got an email from someone claiming to be your mom." I felt my stomach clench. She was saying, "You're their son, and they're in trouble, and maybe you could help them financially." Something about moral obligation. My blood boiled. I apologized. Profusely. Explained what little I could without crying or screaming or flipping a shelf of books. My boss was cool about it. She told me, "We've got your back. Let us know if they contact us again." Still, I left work shaking. That night, I called Emma, a friend from the Miller's church, who knew my whole deal. We sat on her back porch, drinking Dr. Peppers like we were 60-year-olds, gossiping about bingo night. And I just let it out. "They're trying to leech off me," I said, the words spilling like venom. "They left me with nothing, and now they want a cut of my life like it's a goddamn investment return." She didn't say anything for a long time. Then, "So don't just block them." "What do you mean?" "Expose them. Tell your story. Make it so they can't twist the narrative." I stared at her, blinking. "Expose them." I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I opened up an old shared drive I hadn't touched in years. One where I kept screenshots of their travel blog, credit card receipts Savannah accidentally posted on Venmo, and even that dumb comment Tracy left under my graduation post. Receipts, literal and emotional. Then I started writing a blog post, a thread, a damn mini-memoir. I didn't name names, but I didn't need to. Anyone who knew me would get the message. It was raw, honest, a little ragey, but most of all, it was mine. And I ended it with this: "You can't walk away from your kid like he's a gym membership you don't use anymore. And if you do, don't be surprised when that kid grows up and locks the damn doors." I hit post, went to bed, and when I woke up, it had over 40,000 shares. People commented stuff like, "This broke my heart. I'm in tears. I was Miles." Whoever those parents are, I hope they never sleep again. Someone DM'd me saying they were a producer working on a docuseries about kids who were abandoned and overcame. They wanted to feature me. I hadn't even told the Millers yet. And then, just as I was riding that weird wave of catharsis and chaos, Savannah texted me again. "You've made your point. Are you happy now?" And I swear to God, I've never wanted to throw my phone into traffic more. No, I wasn't happy. But I was free, and that was enough. ChatGPT said 3 days ago I got served. Like, actually served legal documents and everything. I was halfway through a burrito bowl at lunch when this guy in a wrinkled blazer walked into the bookstore and asked for me by name. I thought he was a customer or maybe a lost delivery dude. "Nope. Are you Miles Carter?" Yeah." He handed me a thick envelope and said, dead serious, "You've been served." My first thought, WTF. My second thought, this has Tracy and Mitchell written all over it. I opened the envelope behind the counter, hands shaking so bad I almost dropped my fork. Inside, a notice of legal action, a damn lawsuit. They were suing me for financial abandonment. Apparently, because I was doing well now, and they were destitute, I owed them support. Something about moral duty and intergenerational responsibility. I actually laughed, out loud, in the middle of the store. Because, oh my God, how do you sue a kid you abandoned at 12 for not sending you a F*** king check? I called the Millers right away. Mr. Miller came down in 20 minutes flat with a manila folder and a calm fury in his eyes. "We've got a lawyer for this. You're not dealing with it alone." I nodded, still trying to process. They seriously think they can guilt their way into my bank account. Not guilt, manipulation, big difference. We brought the paperwork to this lawyer. They knew Marla Green, absolute pit bull in a power suit. She looked over the documents once, smirked, and said, "They've got nothing. This is a Hail Mary pass by people drowning in their own mess." Still, I couldn't stop shaking, because it wasn't just about money. It was about how far they'd go to pull me back into their orbit, to rewrite history, to make it seem like I owed them something, when the only thing they ever gave me was trauma and trust issues. The next night, Savannah FaceTimed me, which, wow, bold move, considering she hadn't called in like 6 years. I almost hit decline. But curiosity won. Her face popped up on screen, Makeup perfect, lighting suspiciously influencery. Hey, she said, a little too softly. I know you got the papers. I didn't say anything, just stared. I tried to talk them out of it. She said, I told them this was insane, but they think you're making them look bad. They made themselves look bad. I snapped. I just told the truth. I know, I'm not defending them. But she was, in that quiet, backhanded way she always did, that tone that said, I get it, but also maybe tone it down so Mom and Dad don't cry. Then she said, they're living out of their car. Mom's been hospitalized twice for stress. Dad lost another job. They're falling apart. Miles. And I don't know what response she was hoping for. Sir sympathy. What she got was silence. Eventually I said, do they regret leaving me? She paused. Too long. I don't think they really left you. They always told themselves it was temporary. That word again. Savannah, I said, leaning into the camera, voice low and calm. They left. They never came back. They never called. They lived it up for a decade while I bounced through foster care, while I fought to matter. And now they're mad because people know. She didn't have an answer. They're not the victims. I said, they just finally ran out of people to lie to. I hung up. Last weekend, I went with Emma and the Millers to this little lake an hour out of town. No cell service, no noise, just trees and water and sky. I needed the break. While Mr. Miller grilled veggie burgers and Emma sketched in her notebook, I sat at the edge of the dock and let my feet dangle in the cold water. That's when Mrs. Miller came over with a file. We didn't want to overwhelm you earlier, she said, but you should see this. It was full of documents from a storage unit the Carters had abandoned when they skipped town. Emma had grabbed the box weeks ago, but held off on showing me until now. Inside, default notices from 3 banks, a foreclosure letter, maxed out credit cards, loan applications with forged signatures, a letter from a financial advisor warning them to reduce dependencies and expenses immediately. Dependencies, that's how they saw me. An expense? I felt my throat tighten as I read through line after line. Tracy and Mitchell hadn't just made a bad call. They planned to dump me, to opt out of parenting like I was some failed investment. They knew what they were doing, and they never looked back. Mrs. Miller sat beside me. Quiet. You were never the problem, she said. You were the scapegoat. I nodded, eyes burning, heart full of a rage I couldn't quite aim anywhere. On Monday, I got a call from a journalist. Someone had seen my post, the viral one, and wanted to do a longer piece. Not clickbait, something real. Part of me wanted to say no. I was tired. I was so tired. But then I thought, if someone else out there was dealing with this same kind of twisted family mess, maybe hearing my story would help. So I said yes. We did the interview over Zoom that afternoon. I told her everything, from the duffel bag in the back seat, to the fake Instagram captions, to the lawsuit, to that letter that called me a dependency. She was quiet most of the time. Then at the end, she said, "You've got one hell of a backbone." I thanked her, though I didn't feel strong. I just felt done, like I'd finally shut the door on a room full of smoke. The article dropped 2 days later. It was titled, "Left Behind the Boy They Called a Liability." People flooded my inbox, old classmates, strangers, foster kids, teachers, even 2 former friends of Mitchell and Tracy who had cut ties years ago. One message hit me the hardest. It was from a guy named Derek, said he was Mitchell's ex-business partner. They tried to blame everything on you, but I always knew something was off. You deserved better. Proud of you for speaking up. I showed the message to Mr. Miller. He read it, nodded once, and said, "They're unraveling. Let them." Yesterday, my lawyer called. She said Tracy and Mitchell's case had been thrown out. No merit, no chance of appeal. Apparently, their behavior toward me during the past decade, abandonment, public harassment, the manipulative attempts to reinsert themselves, painted a crystal clear picture in court. They shot themselves in the foot. Marla said, twice. I hung up and sat there for a long time, just breathing, just existing without that weight on my shoulders. And then I smiled. Not because they lost, but because I didn't. 2 weeks ago I bought a couch. Sounds dumb. Right, but it wasn't just a couch. It was mine. Paid in full, no hand-me-downs, no sketchy Craigslist meetups. Just a solid, ridiculously comfy L-shaped gray couch from a furniture store that smelled like success and cinnamon air freshener. I sat on that thing for an hour after the delivery guys left, staring at my new apartment. My space, my name on the lease, my paycheck covering the rent. And I thought, damn, this is what it feels like to be free. Not just physically free, but emotionally untethered. No strings pulling me back to a past that nearly chewed me up and spit me out. I was building a real life now. The financial literacy program I started during college, yeah, that thing blew up. It started with me running weekend workshops in cramped library meeting rooms, mostly just me, a whiteboard, and a few students who showed up for the free pizza. But word got around. Then the university offered me space. Then a nonprofit joined in. Then 2 high schools invited me to speak. Before I knew it, we had a damn curriculum. We called it First Dollar. I wasn't some polished speaker with a perfect backstory. I told them the truth about foster care, being broke, feeling like a human line item on someone else's expense sheet. And it resonated. One of the girls, Jazz, came up after a session and said, "You make me feel like I'm not stupid for being poor." I almost cried right there in the gymnasium. Last month, the documentary aired. The one the producer pitched after my viral thread. It was part of a series called Resilience Unfiltered. My story was the finale episode. Watching myself on screen was weird as hell. Like, there I was, talking about Greg and Laura like I wasn't half afraid they'd sue me again just for existing. But I told the truth. No edits, no sugarcoating. There was a shot of me standing outside my new apartment, keys in hand, saying, "This place isn't big, but it's mine, and nobody can take it from me. Not this time." People messaged me nonstop after that aired. Some said they cried. Some said they showed it to their teens. One dude even said, "I finally got the balls to go no contact with my own mom after watching your story." I didn't know how to respond to that. Still don't. Then, out of nowhere, they showed up. Greg and Laura. In person. I was walking out of the coffee shop near my apartment when I saw them sitting in a parked car across the street. Greg looked older, like life had finally punched him in the face. Laura looked exhausted, but still clung to that everything's fine smirk that made me want to scream as a kid. I froze. My heart raced, fight or flight on full blast. Before I could bolt, Laura stepped out and waved. Waved. Like we were at some PTA event or something. I didn't move. She crossed the street, arms out like this was some rom-com reunion. "Miles, it's really you." I didn't hug her. I didn't even blink. I just said, "Why are you here?" "We wanted to talk, in person. We saw the documentary." "You mean the one where I laid out every terrible thing you ever did?" Greg joined her, hands stuffed in his jacket, fake casual. "We know things got messy, but we want to move forward." Clean slate. I laughed, loud, bitter, unfiltered. A clean slate after suing me, after abandoning me and then trying to turn me into your ATM. "We were desperate," Laura whispered. "You were selfish." I corrected. "There's a difference." They started getting defensive, blaming bad advice, stress, mental health issues, and every other excuse they could think of. But then Greg said something that flipped a switch. "We were hoping, since you're doing so well, maybe you could help us get back on our feet." There it was. The ask. Always an ask with them. Always a price tag behind the apology. And that's when it hit me. I'd been waiting for this moment, rehearsing it in my head for years. The scene where they come crawling back, and I get to say, "No." But instead, I said something better. "You know what I am doing well. Despite everything you did, and every success I've had, every dollar I've earned, every inch of peace in my life, none of it is thanks to you. So no, I won't help you." Laura looked like she might cry. Greg looked pissed. Good. "You two taught me the most valuable financial lesson of all." I said, "Cut your losses." Then I turned and walked away. Didn't look back. A week later, Savannah messaged me again. This time it wasn't begging or blaming, just 2 words. "You win." And honestly, that hit harder than I expected, because it wasn't about winning. It was about surviving, about rebuilding, about finally getting a life I didn't have to apologize for. I didn't respond. Yesterday, I held a graduation party for the first full cohort of first dollar students. The Millers came. Of course, Emma too. Ryan brought a Bluetooth speaker and played the worst playlist of all time. But somehow it worked. There were cupcakes and speeches and bad karaoke and happy tears. One of the students, Maya, hugged me and said, "You gave me the first real plan I've ever had for my future. I almost lost it." After everyone left. I sat in the quiet and looked around at the empty chairs and crumpled napkins. This messy, perfect aftermath of something real. And I thought, this is what a legacy looks like. Not a blog full of fake smiles, not a desperate lawsuit, not a sob story for sympathy clicks. Impact. That's the revenge. Living a life so full, so real, and so unapologetically mine, that the people who once discarded me can't even touch it anymore. ChatGPT said 2 nights ago I was on stage. Not a bar stage, not karaoke, a real damn stage at a youth summit in Chicago, packed with high school students, college kids, educators, even some community leaders. I stood there with a mic in my hand, the lights burning hot on my face, and I just froze for a second. Because right there, in the crowd, in the 3rd row from the front, I saw him, Mr. Harper, my old middle school guidance counselor. Dude was a little older now, a little grayer, but I'd know that calm, tired face anywhere. He was the only adult back then who even kind of cared when I disappeared. I almost choked up. But I cleared my throat, adjusted the mic, and started talking. When I was 12, I got dropped off like luggage at a foster home while my parents went to find themselves. They found beaches, brunch spots, and debt. I found a second chance. That line always gets a laugh. It's how I start every talk. It's the truth. I talked about the Millers, about the nights I couldn't sleep, wondering what I did wrong, about finding myself through debate and minimum wage shifts at a bookstore, about how I stopped waiting for an apology that was never coming. People ask me all the time if I've forgiven them, I said, pacing slowly across the stage. And honestly, I haven't. I don't need to. I've outgrown needing closure from people who can't even spell it. The crowd laughed. But it wasn't just for the joke. It was that soft, collective laugh you hear when a room full of people get it. I wrapped the speech, standing ovation, cameras flashing, and I spotted Mr. Harper again, clapping slowly, proud as hell. Later, he found me in the lobby. "Miles Carter, I knew you'd turn out all right." I laughed, actually hugged the guy. "You're the only one who didn't look at me like I was already broken." He smiled, eyes glassy. "You just needed someone to remind you that you weren't." The next day, I got an email. Subject line, nomination confirmation, National Impact Award. At first, I thought it was spam, one of those click here to claim your trophy scams. But no, this was real. Like, very real. Apparently, someone submitted my name, probably the nonprofit partner I'd been working with, and now I was on the shortlist for an award that came with funding. Press. And a legit platform to take first dollar national. I sat on my new couch, staring at the screen for 5 whole minutes. Then I called Mrs. Miller. "You remember when I told you I was going to be someone this might actually be happening?" She screamed. I swear she almost dropped the phone. "You already are someone, baby. But hell yeah, let's get that plaque too." That weekend, Emma came over. She brought wine and a USB drive. "I've got something you need to see," she said. Turns out, she'd been compiling all the Carters' old crap documents, blogs, social media posts, and even a few recorded phone calls from relatives who'd finally turned on them. It was like a digital scrapbook of dysfunction. But it also proved something big: they'd lied to everyone. Not just me. Used my name to get sympathy, claimed they were estranged from me because I was rebellious and ungrateful, told people they were paying for my college. I was livid. "I want to burn all of it," I muttered, scrolling through emails full of lies. "You could," Emma said, or she pulled out a folder, her backup plan. It was a pitch deck, branded, color-coded, clean. "Use their BS to fuel your next move." Turns out, Emma had been working on a new campaign for First Dollar Rewrite the Story, a scholarship and mentorship track specifically for kids who'd been publicly disowned, abandoned, or screwed over by family image-obsessed parents. A program built from my story. We flipped their narrative. She said, "You're not the black sheep. You're the blueprint." I looked at her like she just handed me the damn universe. You're a genius. Took you long enough? A week later, I pitched Rewrite the Story to the board of a major youth funding org. I told them the truth. Not the cleaned-up corporate version. The real version. My parents left me behind to protect their Instagram brand. I built a life to protect others from parents like that. Silence. Then applause. We got the grant. 2 nights ago, I threw a party. Just a small one. Friends. The Millers. Emma. Ryan, who brought 3 bags of chips and 1 bottle of tequila like he thought it was a potluck. We drank, we laughed, and at one point someone asked, "What's next for you?" Miles. I didn't even hesitate. I want to make it so that no kid ever feels like they're too expensive to love. Quiet for a second, then cheers. I stepped outside for some air later that night. Just stood on my balcony, watching the city hum below. The lights, the traffic, the distant echo of some dude playing sax badly near the corner. And I realized I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't bitter. I wasn't waiting for them to call or apologize or crawl. I was just me, unapologetically. Miles Carter, foster kid, survivor, now a mentor, a builder, a speaker, a F*** King Force. This morning, I got a package. No return address. Inside, a faded family photo from years ago, back when Savannah and I were still kids. Taped to the back was a note. No signature. "We did the best we could. Please don't hate us forever." I stared at it for a long time. Then I put it in the box under my bed labeled Unsent Letters, the same box that holds my foster care intake papers, my first job acceptance letter, and the copy of that eviction notice that started it all. Because I don't need to burn the past anymore. I already outgrew it.